is the fact that the first political interview of the year that Rishi Sunak has given, and he brings up the name of the Reform Party. He actually says Nigel Farage, but you can't vote for Nigel Farage because he's not standing for anything at the moment. Richard Tice, who's head of the Reform Party at the moment, is predicted to take 10% of the vote. And if Nigel Farage does decide to come back and lead that party, it's predicted to be 14% of the vote. But what do you make of the fact that in his first main political interview of the year, of the election campaign, Rishi Sunak mentioned the Reform Party?
I think it shows how worried the party is with reform and the success that they will have. And you're right, they may not actually take seats. It may not translate into physical seats, but the damage that it will do to the Conservative vote is enormous. And I think that's what we need to be working on. You look at why reform are so popular. What is it that they're saying that makes people believe that they would be an entity to vote for? And look at your own policies and see where you've got some room to move. I mean, this is typical politicking within an election year, and we saw it previously with UKIP, which is why I think Nigel Farage's name comes up. He is one of those chief disruptors. He is incredibly good at politics, and people like him. So whilst the Prime Minister is in charge of the country, he needs to look at his own personality and think, why is it that people aren't saying Rishi Sunak's the man, but Nigel Farage or Richard Tice or Ben Habib, they are? What is it that is different? What is it that they have that I don't? And that's where he should be looking.
If we're going to the politics of personality, obviously we had Boris Johnson, which was the biggest personality in politics for a long time, not entirely successful, and Keir Starmer isn't exactly Mr. Interesting, is he? But going back to Richard Tice, he's also mentioned, Nigel, that he's going to target the Labour voter. And we know that in 2019 that a lot of the Red Wall voted for the Conservatives on the immigration policy. So do you think that the Reform Party and Richard Tice are in with a chance of taking Labour voters away as well?
I think in 2019, a lot of the Red Wall voted for Brexit, which is rather more than immigration at that stage. So,
but immigration was a big part of how Brexit was solved.
I think immigration, especially this time, is why they might well vote for Richard Tice's party. I mean, as Claire's pointed out, the chances of them actually getting a seat are pretty remote. That when UKIP were at their height, which was in the 2015 election, they were running at 15% in the polls, not a single MP came as a result of that. And the idea of targeting Labour voters probably won't make any difference. A Labour voter is not going to vote for reform. A Tory voter might, and that's why it'll do more damage to the Tory party than the Labour Party. And it will, in fact, allow Labour MPs, more Labour MPs, to get in.
I'm not entirely sure when you say Labour voters won't vote for reform.
No, I'm not. I disagree. I think there are a lot of Labour voters who don't support Keir Starmer's version of the Labour Party, and they are looking for another place to go. It's not the Conservative Party. They feel let down.
Well, there will be left-wingers who are unlikely to be voting for reform.
But there are left-wingers and there are left-wingers. You know, you can't just tar them all with the same brush. They are incredibly different in that respect, and there are a lot of Labour voters who do not subscribe to Sir Keir Starmer's view of what Labour is. So they are looking for somewhere else to go.
Excellent. I'm just thrilled I've started the first row of their wedding anniversary. It's brilliant, isn't it? They won't last the show, will they?